Hey guys, just wanted you to know we found this in the news this morning. Um, I'm pretty upset about this. This is uh, this is what the outcome to our Goshen police officer driving around drunk, discharging his firearm from a moving vehicle ended up getting. It says Elkhart County, Indiana. A Goshen police officer who was arrested in December for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated pled guilty on Tuesday. Brody Brown, 24, was arrested on December following a traffic stop at the 23,000 block of US 33. Brown was sentenced to 60 days in jail with all 60 days suspended. He will serve 12 months probation. Brown and the two off-duty officers who were passengers in his vehicle at the time of the arrest are on administrative leave. The investigation revealed the officers had fired their guns from Brown's vehicle, according to reports. Brown's license will be suspended for 30 days. And that's pretty much it. I mean, these drunk cops are driving around on public streets armed, which being drunk and armed is a crime. Firing your weapons drunk is a crime. Firing your weapons from a moving vehicle is a crime. And because he's a police officer, he gets a suspended jail sentence and a little bit of probation. I don't understand how they think that that's correct. I mean, any of us would have been facing multiple felonies if we wouldn't have been shot. I just don't get it. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes until some people get in here, and then hopefully we can discuss this. And I just but that's all they're gonna do. That's the man right there, one of them. Unbelievable. And set you guys down for a minute and wait for a couple more people to join in. I guess my notifications aren't going out because I didn't get notifications on the other phone I'm on, so. And see, there's a couple people in there, but nobody talking yet.
Those are probably local police.
Probably.
Trying to see what you're up to.
Yeah.
To draw evidence against you.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know, guys. I'm just in shock about this.
I'm gonna go to the store. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Let me hobble my way outside.
I mean, it's just amazing how many, let's see, I'll read some of these different stories, and these are all different stories, but Goshen police officer pleads guilty. That's the one that they were firing their weapons from the moving vehicle while they were drunk. I don't know. That's just... My notifications definitely aren't going out. I got nobody in here. My other phone didn't get a notification either, so I'm not sure what's up. I'll give it another... Oh, there's some people coming in now. Maybe. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe... Let me try... Ah, there we go. Okay. Human. Okay, now I'm seeing the chat. I was on the wrong setting. Hi, Jen T. Hugs back at you, girl. I just wanted to show you guys what recently transpired. We just got the that were arrested. Let me read this to you again. I read it at the beginning of the video. I'm pulling it up now. Goshen police officer pleads guilty to OWI. That's the officer there. And this is what it reads. A Goshen police officer who was arrested in December for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated pled guilty on Tuesday. Brody Brown, 24, was arrested in December following a traffic stop in the 23,000 block. Oops. In the 23,000 block. No, I'm not sure what just happened there. But anyway, you can Google it and find it and read the entire thing. But there was a Goshen police officer driving the vehicle. There were two other officers, off-duty officers, in the car. They were all drunk. They were all armed. They were all discharging their weapons from a motor vehicle. And this Brody Brown that was sentenced, here we go. Goshen police officer conducted a traffic stop in the 2300 block of Elkhart on a vehicle near an area where the officer heard what sounded like gunshots. The driver of the vehicle, Brody L. Brown, 24 of Elkhart, was arrested and incarcerated on preliminary charges. Anyway, you guys can Google it and read the entire thing. But he pled guilty to operating while intoxicated, and he got a 60-day suspended sentence. He will spend no time in jail, and he got a year probation. And that's it. And that's for driving around drunk, armed, and discharging weapons from a motor vehicle. So they were armed. All three of them were armed. All three of them were drunk. All three of them discharging their weapons in a residential area from a motor vehicle. And that's the sentence. That's the sentence he got, was 60 days suspended sentence and a year probation. And he gets to go back to being a police officer. That just disgusts me. It really, really does. I can't really do a whole lot right now because of my circumstances. But if you guys have any problems or would like to discuss anything with the city or the police department about how that goes, there's the numbers. There's the number for City Hall, Goshen City Hall. There's the number for Goshen Mayor's office. And there's the number for the Goshen Police Department. Feel free to call these guys and let them know if you feel that the sentence is unfair. Any of us that would have done that, the area code is 574. The area code is 574. But any of us that would have done that would have been, for one, lucky to walk away alive. We'd have probably got shot in the vehicle because they're known to shoot at moving vehicles. They killed one person because he was driving away from an area that shots were reported, and they just opened fire on his vehicle and killed him. That was, what was that, a year or so ago, Kim?
Yeah, that was a year ago.
And he wasn't even involved in the shooting. He was just trying to leave the area, and they opened fire on him. I'm just amazed that Jen says to tell you hugs.
Tell her hugs.
She says hugs back.
Oh.
But yeah, my pen's not working. But the area code is 574.
I'm in pain right now.
But yeah, I can't believe that's what they think is suitable. You know, he gets a suspended sentence. He spends no time in jail. He gets a year probation, and he gets to go back to being a police officer after they drive drunk. He had a breath alcohol of 0.117 when he was arrested, which is at least twice the legal limit, I think. But and he gets a 60-day suspended sentence. He gets a year probation, and that's it. Hell, for my disorderly conduct for cussing at a cop in my front yard, I got 180 days, a year probation, and a ton of fines. So for them driving around drunk, discharging their weapons from a moving car in a residential area, his sentence isn't even half, not even half of what mine is for a misdemeanor disorderly conduct. Hi, Espen. That was awesome. That was an awesome video out on the lake. That was awesome. Thank you for that. And I'm sorry. I'm just really upset right now after reading this this article about what the cops are facing for their. And I would think those would have to be felonies. Driving drunk. Well, I don't know about that one, but being in possession of a firearm while you're drunk, discharging a firearm in a residential area, discharging your firearm from a moving vehicle, and this man's sentence is not even half. Like I said, he got 60 days suspended and a year probation for all those charges. And I got 180 days, a year probation, a bucket full of fines and costs and probation fees. So his sentence for all those felonies isn't even a third of what mine is for cussing at a cop in my front yard. I don't get it. Emperor, apparently they did not charge him with discharging the firearm, but it says right in the article, if you Google the article, it says right in the article, and just Google Goshen police officer sentenced for OWI, and it'll bring up the article, and it says right in the article that there was gunfire coming from the vehicle. They didn't charge him with that. They didn't charge him with being in possession of firearms under the influence. They didn't charge him with discharging the firearms. The only thing they charged him with was the OWI. It says, Jen, it says OWI. Goshen police officer arrested for OWI. 2 other cops suspended in potential drunken shooting. That's the article. So they know they were armed, they were drunk, they were driving around, discharging their weapons, and that's all this Brown got. I mean, it's a pretty long article. But in the sentencing on Tuesday, Brown, which was the driver, pled guilty to OWI and got 60 days suspended sentence and a year probation. And that's it. That's it. That's all he got. And like I said, in the meantime, for disorderly conduct, because I cussed out a cop in my front yard, I got 180 days, a bunch of fines, and a year probation. So he got less consequences for driving drunk, being armed while he's drunk, discharging their firearms in a residential area, and he didn't even get a third of the sentence that I got for cussing out a cop in my front yard. Yes, Emperor, we do know for a fact that there was gunfire, that all 3 were armed, and that there was gunfire coming from the car. We know this for a fact. It has been admitted by the investigation. During the investigation, it has been admitted that there was gunfire coming from the car, and that all 3 off-duty officers were armed. As far as which one actually did the firing, they haven't been real transparent on that, but all 3 officers were armed. All 3 officers were intoxicated. I believe Indiana is the same as, it's nationwide. The laws on that are nationwide. You cannot possess a firearm while under the influence of alcohol, period. Yeah, they do. That's nationwide. That's everybody. You're not allowed to possess or use a firearm while you're under the influence. But yeah, it just irritates the crap out of me that this guy didn't even get a third of the consequences. I mean,
he still gets to keep his job.
Oh yeah, and he still gets to keep his job. He gets to still be a police officer. So, I mean, any of us would have been facing multiple felonies if we'd have lived. I mean, these guys have a reputation for opening fire. They killed a man a while back that was driving away from a scene that there was reported gunfire. The man was driving away from the scene, and they opened fire on his vehicle and killed him. Found out later he had nothing to do with it, but if it would have been one of us, if we wouldn't have been killed, we would have been facing multiple felonies for possession of a weapon while intoxicated, discharging a weapon while intoxicated, discharging a weapon in a residential area. I mean, they'd have just dumped everything on us. But this guy gets away with it with pretty much no consequences.
Because he's a police officer.
Okay, the thing is, Emperor, then how do they justify giving me a 180-day jail sentence, a lot of fines and probation for disorderly conduct? So they're saying that consequences for disorderly conduct are 3 times as severe as an OWI? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Those are the phone numbers for the city hall, the mayor's office, and the police non-emergency. If anybody has any questions or complaints about this, feel free to call them. But yeah, I see that, Jen. I see that. It's ridiculous. The thing is, Emperor, if we look into the records, I can guarantee you that's not the case. I can pretty much guarantee you that more severe penalties have been handed out for first-time offenses for just regular citizens than that. And I am gonna FOIA some other information, some other records to be able to prove that this officer got away with a lot less penalties for the same charge as a lot of other people would have. That's correct. It's not a felony. The felonies should have been possession of the firearm while intoxicated, discharging the firearm while intoxicated, discharging the firearm in a residential area. Yes, the DUI or the OWI is actually a misdemeanor. But what I'm saying is, under the circumstances, they should have been charged. They should have had a lot more charges against them. And they didn't. They went with the least they could possibly do. And this guy gets to go back to being a police officer.
That's because he's a police officer. He's not regular Joe Blow citizen.
No, Jen. That's not for me. Well, an Emperor, because they got different treatment. I mean, anybody else that had done, they could have very easily. They have confirmed gunfire came from the vehicle. They had all 3 officers' firearms. They know who fired. They're just not releasing that information to us. It's very easy to prove who fired. You have empty shell casings. You have, they could have done gunpowder residue tests. They could have tested the firearms to see which ones had been fired. They just chose not to. Hey, your news now. I'm sorry, I'm just venting. Just to give you an update, your news now. This is what I'm venting about. The cops that were driving around the city of Goshen, drunk, firing their weapons from a moving car, and all they got was the one officer that was driving pled guilty to operating while intoxicated, got a 60-day suspended sentence and a year probation. Yeah, that's crazy, especially when you think, okay, I was at my own house, in my own yard, and I cussed out a cop and I got a 180-day suspended sentence for disorderly conduct that came with a 180-day suspended sentence, a year probation, and a couple $1,000s in fines and costs to go back to be a police officer. Your news now. You can Google. I mean, just Google. Ask Google. How did I phrase that? Ask Google the sentence for Goshen police officer for operating while intoxicated, and it'll pull up those articles. Check out all those articles. Read all that happened, all the investigation. Do your research and read everything about it. And then these are the phone numbers, and that's a 574 area code. That's City Hall. That's the mayor's office. And that one is the non-emergency number for the police department. And again, those are 574 area codes. So do your research, Google everything, and a lot more stuff pulls up. But it's Officer Brown that pled guilty, and that's him right there. But yeah, he pled guilty and got a 60-day suspended sentence and a year probation for driving around town drunk. His breath test came out to 0.117. There's nothing happened about the being armed and drunk. Nothing happened about being discharging firearms while intoxicated from a moving vehicle. Nothing came of the discharging a firearm inside city limits in a residential area. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Goshen police officer has been arrested for operating, and this is the original, apparently approximately 1:43 a.m. on Friday, a Goshen police officer conducted a traffic stop at the 23,000 block of US 33 on a vehicle near an area where the officer heard what sounded like gunshots, and it has been confirmed that it was gunfire coming from the vehicle. The driver of the vehicle, Brody L. Brown, 24 of Elkhart, was arrested and incarcerated on preliminary charges of operating a vehicle while under the influence, a Class A misdemeanor. And a Class A misdemeanor carries a maximum of a year in jail. And he got 60 days suspended sentence. My Class B misdemeanor, which has a maximum of 180 days in jail, I was sentenced to the maximum.
Pike's done a shout out to us this morning.
Cool. We did this in the interest of justice and transparency, my ass. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna shut this one down. Um, but yeah, it's look at the news article that was put out today. Um, that officer pled guilty, and his sentence is 60 days, all of which were suspended, so no jail time whatsoever, and a year probation, and that's it. That's all that's been done, and he goes back to being a police officer. Um, I'm going to look up some more information, and I'll come back later on and fill you in on what I find out. But anybody that Googles it and looks into the information and has an issue with it, go ahead and call these numbers right here, and those are 574 area codes. That's City Hall, the mayor's office, and the police non-emergency. I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down. I'll do some more research. Hopefully you guys will also, and maybe we can voice our displeasure about this somehow and get them to do something. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll talk to you later.